Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mindfully Curious podcast. My name is Steph, and I am curious AF about all things creativity and the human experience. And I love doing this podcast because it gives me a container for me to place all of that passion and curiosity and be able to alchemize it into something cool that I get to share with all of you beautiful people out there listening. So yeah, thanks for being here and helping me continue to explore what I'm curious about. So, this is the last episode of the second season of the podcast. I started the podcast about 8 months ago in 2020, and this would be about, close to the 30th episode. I should know the exact number, but I know it's between 29 and 30. And it is the 11th episode with Sada Collective. Holla at all of the family at Sada. They really have been amazing partners on this journey. I love that through this podcast, I have gained so many beautiful people to my tribe, and building this community really is such a beautiful thing that has come from this podcast. Because this podcast really is a labor of love. It's nothing that I'm getting paid for. I'm really not selling you anything, except for the one thing I will always be #selling is the importance of having creativity in your life and to allow yourself to express your feelings and think your thoughts. I think a lot of us already give ourselves a chance to think our thoughts. And at least in my personal experience, I did not give myself an equal chance of feeling my feelings. And I think that is because when I was a child, I was encouraged to take my feelings elsewhere whenever they showed up, and take them elsewhere I did. But whenever I was doing that taking elsewhere, I kind of knew that there was an unhealthy thing about doing so. But I was just so confused because I felt so strongly about things, and I just thought, how am I going to live life like this? I remember being like 16 and trying to get dressed for a party that I was gonna be spending like 3 hours at because my parents were super strict and would not even let me stay out past 9 p.m. when I was 16. They were super strict. Like, there was no way I was getting away with it. So I was looking in my closet trying to find something to wear, and I just really couldn't find anything. And I remember just going into this zone where I just felt like the world was going to end. I want to say that it's very possible that I might have had a panic attack right then because I couldn't find something I deemed good enough to go to this party. And I mean, you could read so much into that, but I just remember feeling like, oh my goodness, like, this is it. And then reflecting back on that moment, and how I felt. Maybe like a few years after that, I was just like, oh my God, like I have no chance in life. Like once I was aware that I was dealing with like chronic anxiety and chronic panic attacks, I just knew that this was too hard, or it felt like it was too hard. And I thought that there was a way for me to just think my feelings away. And I think at the time I was being so intelligent, thinking that I could go research all of these things and somehow like think the feelings away. And it just kept getting more and more overwhelming. But anyway, tried a lot of stuff, medicine, therapy, and yes, of course, it all helped. But I always felt the feeling coming back, and I'm like, oh my God, like I can't numb this out, like it keeps coming back. Then I started getting into meditation because I honestly just didn't know what to do. I really thought I was gonna go mad. And I tried meditation, tried it and tried it and tried it. And at some point, something did feel different. And sooner, little became a lot. And I noticed that when I started feeling a certain way, the thoughts would come in and I would have a longer period of time between feeling the feeling, like the deep feeling of being overwhelmed, and the thought coming in saying, this is somehow my fault and I am so effed. So that time gap just started becoming a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And it was nice because that little gap eventually allowed me to think, hey, wait, this is it, what I'm scared of. And it was kind of like a hurricane. I know it's coming and I have all this time to kind of prepare. And that I feel like has been my biggest ally in this journey, has been tools like meditation and like all of the other things that I said I tried, because I'm not saying that there's only one tool that worked for me. If I had to say you're like only one, of course I would say meditation, just because it's so free and it really does provide you with the biggest ROI on your health overall, at least in my humble experience. But I wanted to share that story with you because looking back at this season and even the season prior to that, the thread I am able to weave throughout is how important creating habits that nourish our spirit and empower our bodies to do the work that we're here to do. And I love that everybody has different daily rituals that they turn to for nourishment, to replenish themselves. And I love that they get to share a little bit of that with me and with you through the conversations. I find it so, so valuable. And I love seeing everybody's spin on what they do. That's why at the end of the podcast, I just kind of started telling people, thank you for being who you are, doing what you do, and doing it like you do it. Because it really is, in my humble opinion, when we deviate from that, all sizes fit industrial recipe of things, that's where we find artistry. And that's where I found myself, is in that exploration of, okay, well, we already know what happens when you do this. Now, based on that, how can we improve? And how can we improve this for the good of all? I read somewhere today how much we have taken from our planet. And I am actually going to try to find this quote. It says, Earth is 4.6 billion years old. Let's scale that to 46 years. We have been here for 4 hours. Our industrial revolution began 1 minute ago. In that time, we have destroyed more than 50% of the world's forests. So 46 years, the Earth is... We've been here for 4 hours. 4 hours. Industrial revolution began 1 minute ago. And in 1 minute, we destroyed half of the world's forests. Now, I don't care to get into the details of, is global warming real, whatever. Because to me, when I think about it in that perspective, 1 minute we've killed 50% of the trees in the world. Wow, that's nuts. And I don't care what the data says. I don't need to know, because that's a lot. And I definitely understand what people say now, that we have caused so much harm to the earth that going at the same speed as we developed what we have developed this far is not gonna cut it in order for us to be able to undo the damage that we have done. However, that sounds fatalistic, but I think that it shouldn't make us feel like it's not worth it, because I think that I feel that if we all do our best, everything is going to be fine. And ultimately, I think everything is going to be fine regardless. But why not try to make it better? Why not try just a little bit? Just a little bit. We all can do these little things. And that's why I love all the different things that every conversation yields. Because that's a big a la carte menu of tools and practices and whatever little tricks, hacks, just stories, maps, to help us point out the way whenever we may find ourselves in a like situation. And also to know that what you're going through is not that weird, and more than likely nobody's really judging you, because we're all too busy judging ourselves anyway, let's be honest. And that there's no such thing as perfect, but there is such thing as time. We only got right now, so time is of the essence. You can spend the time however you would like, but why not spend it doing something you love? And if you train yourself to love things that are so important and yet so simple, essential, like breathing, like taking care of your body by moving your body, etc., etc., etc. The point here is that you could add 1,000,001 practices to that list, and they're all just as valid, and we all, through our curiosity and creativity, have the ability to take all of those, mix them and remix them, season them with whatever we want to spice our life up with, and enjoy the motherfucking ride. With that being said, that was my takeaway from these last few months, season 2 of the Mindfully Curious podcast. I am so grateful for everybody that helps make this happen, the guests, all of the listeners, everybody who's a supporter, all of the people that make donations of equipment and give me things and buy me groceries and just take care of the things that they can to help me take care of the things that I can. And that way we all make a better world for all. So much gratitude for you listening, for you not listening. I love each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to talk to you again. Now, don't be sad because the next season is coming right up. We are only taking 1 week off, so you don't have to worry about missing us for too long. And if you are interested in joining us, we host a Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, room on Clubhouse. Me and the ladies at Sada Collective, we've been hosting this creativity room for the last couple of weeks, and it has been a beautiful experience, creating space for people to express themselves, to connect, to inspire each other. It's been so beautiful to see and to be part of it. So if you're listening to this and you would like to join us, Clubhouse, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. The name of the room is Nurturing and Empowering Your Creativity. And the topic we're going to be exploring during this week's room will be the age-old question on how to balance the differing forces that help you tap into creativity. And by that, I'm talking about inspiration and perspiration, because creativity is a twofold thing. It's getting that idea and being able to translate it into the world so you can share it with other people. Creativity is an act of generosity, because you are pulling something from the ethereal, or wherever those ideas come from, into the world by doing the work. And when you share it, that's what turns it into an act of gracious. Is that how you say that? Anyway, generosity. So, gonna be talking about that, the yin and the yang, the working and the inspiration, the muse, the more romantic sides of the process of creating versus the project manager side of the process. How do we each have our own spin on handling both of those polarities? It is going to be really interesting to hear people that label themselves as creative answer this question, because I am sure they're gonna have some really good spicy remixes of our routine. And I can't wait to get into that. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for helping make this happen. Connect with me, connect with the guests, connect with my friends at Sada Collective. I look forward to talking to you through this platform again in a couple of weeks. Wednesday, April 7th, will return with the first episode of Season 3 of the Mindfully Curious podcast. And we are going to be talking to my friend, Tiffany Mertens, about all kinds of juicy subjects. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. And I hope to see you or hear you someday in the future. Perhaps you can come to one of my workshops, or I can hear you on one of our Clubhouse chats. Either way, just know that I am here with you to explore creativity and all the other juicy things about the human experience. Much love, everybody. Peace.